Hello, this is Pavel with a C# exercise, guess the number game. Basically, we'll be writing a program where the computer selects a random number between 1 and 1000, and we will be guessing what number the computer chose. If we pick a number that is too low, the computer will prompt us, okay, it's too low, try again. If we guess too high, then it will say too high, try again. This way we'll be able to kind of zero in on the correct answer, and once we do have the correct answer, the app will prompt us, says congratulations, and at that point we will be given an option to play another game or not. In other words, we'll be allowed to choose whether to play again. So these are very simple rules, so I'm going to make it very simple. No object orientation or anything like that. Everything will be within class program. So few variables that I need. The first one is the selected number, which I'll initialize to 0. This is the number that the computer will pick randomly. Next one will be a random one. We need a random class to create random numbers. New random. And I'm making everything static, so everything can be called easily from within main method. Remember, main method is static, so I need these variables to be static in order to be accessible freely. Public static. Next one, what I need is a boolean that will tell me whether the game is over or whether the user wants to keep playing, and I'll initialize it to false. So now when I go to my main method, I will let the computer choose a number. So selected number equals random, and it's supposed to be from 1 to 1000. But you know what, for the testing, yeah, never mind. Let's make it 1 to 1000. So remember, 1001 means that from 1 to 1000, because the last number is not included. 1001 is not included, only the one before that, which makes it, of course, 1000. So the next one, we need a number that the user guesses. So I will do a user guess number. So let's say user number, and initialize it to 0. That's the number that the user will guess. And over here, after that, we can start our program, basically our game loop. So I will do a do loop because we want to execute it at least once, and inside I will ask the user to enter the number that I don't know, guess a number between 1 and 1000. So that's for the user to enter, and user will enter the number, and we will store it in our user number variable. Before we do that, we need to convert it to integer, because it's a number, not a string. So but we are reading a user input, which is obviously a string, so that's why we need to convert it to integer first. So now we have the number, we read it from the console, converted it to integer, and passed it to our user number variable. Now, and we will be doing that all while our game over equals false. As long as the game over is false, this loop, the body of the loop, will execute. Now, I need a function that will kind of have the logic for the game itself. So I will do a public static, and I don't think it will return anything, so I'll do a void and guess number, and the number that it's going to be comparing it against is the one that the user entered, so it will accept the user number. So I'll just call it again user number. So that's the argument that the function accepts. So from here, from the do loop, after the user enters the number, we can call this function, simply guess number, and we will pass the user number. So user will enter number, we call the function, now we come over here, the number the user entered is passed as an argument, and now let's do the logic itself. Now we need some kind of a flag for the user to enter in order to quit the game. So let's say press yes, Y or N to play more, play again. So we can do that. I'm just going to do it as an integer because it's a little easier, I guess. So I will ask the user play again. I'll initialize it to 0, and that's the number when the user will enter. Let's say 1, then he wants to play again. If he enters 2, then he doesn't want to play again. The game's over. So we come over here, game over is false, and the game stops. So now we have to check the selected number, which is the user number. Now that one is a class variable. We have an access to it directly. We don't have to pass it into this function because it's declared as a class public variable. So but we have to compare this number to the user number and see if it's greater, equal, or less, and then determine the further action. So if our number, which is the user number, is less than the selected number, then we will do simple console dot write line, too low, try again, because the user guessed the number was too low. Else if the number the user enters is greater than selected number again is the number the computer picks randomly. So if that's greater, then we will simply say console dot write line, and it's too high, try again. Else, if it's not too low, if it's not too high, and guess what? We have a winner. So else, I get guess number. That's supposed to be user number. I misspelled that, obviously. So if user number is greater than selected number, then it's too high. Now, if there's a winner, now we have to find out. I'll put a message that there's a, the user guessed the right number, and ask the user to play again. So first we will inform the user that, yeah, I don't know, you got it. And now we can do something like press 1 to play again, or 2 to quit. Alright, so now we give the user an option to play again. And the user will now enter 1 or 2, the number 1 or 2, so we will save that into our play again variable. So our play again will equal to convert, again it's a number, so we'll convert it to string, console.readLine. So now the user told us whether he wants to play again. Now we have to evaluate if he entered 1 and we play again, or 2 and we quit. So but we don't accept any other input, only 1 or 2. If the user enters 3 or something else, other number, then that's invalid. So we will simply do a while loop. If while the play again is not equal to 1 and play again is not equal to 2, in other words, if the user didn't enter correct number, which is only 1 or 2, then we will simply let the user to enter it again. So console.writeLine, please select only 1 to play again, or 2 to quit. And now we will, so we ask, now the user has to enter the number again. So basically we will not proceed until the user enters 1 or 2 as an input. We need to know whether only 1 or 2 is the valid input. Everything else we don't move forward with the program. This will be looping until the user enters correct value. So now the user entered play again and let's say he entered 1 or he entered 2, so now we can get out of the loop. This condition is now false, so we can move forward. So now we simply evaluate if the play again that equals, let's say, to 2, which is the to quit, then we set the game over to false. That way we'll quit the whole game, so our game over equals false. Else, in other words, if the user wants to continue, then we will simply select another random number. Alright, so over here we selected it before we entered the loop. Now we selected if the user wants to play again. So our selected number now equals again random integer of 1 through 1001 to make it 1 through 1000. So if the user presses 2, the game over is set to false, and that's how, and over here we loop until while the game over is equal to false. So actually this is supposed to, I'm sorry, true, of course. The game over is true. He wants to quit, and when the game over is true, then this is this condition is false, because we are looping only while game over equals false, means while the user wants to quit. When the game over equals true, the loop quits. Now if he presses 1 over here, then he wants to continue, so the computer will pick another number, and then we will simply come over here again and let the user to guess the number again. Okay, and I know that after the while loop I will do some console.readline just to pause the screen so it doesn't just flash it through. So that should be really all. Let me run it. Let's see if there's any bugs. And you know what, I just realized it's gonna take me a while to guess the number maybe, but let me just try it first. So it says guess the number between 1 and 1000, so I'll try 500. Okay, so that's too high, so I'll try 250. That's still too high, so 125. Too high. Okay, so what is it, 66 or 67? Still too high. How about 40? Too low. Alright, so 45. Okay, 50, 55, 60. Alright, so it's between 55 and 60, so 59, 58. Oh, 58 it was. You got it. Please press 1 to play again or 2 to quit. So I press 2 and now the program quits. And over here, when the program first starts, I will output the number just so I can see. It's just for testing purposes. I will output the number that the computer picked, just so I can compare it to, you know, the number that I'm guessing and make sure that they match, that, you know, there's no problems with the random number. So it picks 717. So let's say 500, too low. Okay, 700, still too low. 718, ooh, too high. 716, too low. Okay, and see it, so they match, and it says play again. So let's try to play again. I press 1. Now let me try press 3, like a wrong input, and it says please select only 1 or 2. So I press 8. Still it won't let me, so 1, and here we are playing again. So let's say 500 too high, 300 too low, 400 too low, 450, 460, 470, and 480. All right, so 400 and what was it? 69, 468, 467, 65. Jeez. 463, 462, and 61. What did I guess? I don't remember. You know what? Let me try it again because that's why I had this there. I will output the number. Actually, I will take it and put it right here. So every time I run it, the number the computer picks displays. So it's 466. So I'll just guess it. Oh, you got it. Press again. All right. So we got guessing again. 782 too high, 780 too low, 781. I got it. And now I quit, and there you go. So like I said, this is just for testing purposes. I output the number that the computer picks just so I can see and compare my input with the number that the computer picked randomly, and it seems to be working correctly. So there you have it. Simple, you know, loop, simple do loop, while the user doesn't wants to play again. In other words, while it is not game over, we keep looping, and if the user presses 2, then the game over becomes true and we stop looping and the game's over. So I hope it helped you, and I will see you next time. Take care.